Hi, everyone. So I am coming back to one of the earliest bottles that I enjoyed when I started my bourbon journey. This Michter's US1 small batch bourbon, 91.4 proof. Definitely one of the earliest bottles, not the first one, but definitely one of the earlier ones. And I want to see, I haven't had this probably at least for a couple of years. And I want to see if my palate, which certainly has evolved over that time and beyond, thinks the same of it. What I thought of it was kind of a conflicting thought. On the one hand, there's something about this that I really liked, just really enjoyed. Aside from just the bottle itself, I love the Michter's bottles, but the taste was just something I enjoyed. However, I always thought it drank young. I always think it tasted like a young bourbon. There's no age statement, there's no mash bill. There's just a lot that's not disclosed about this, and I always thought it drank like a young bourbon. Just that it wasn't aged very long, but at the same time, there was something that made me still come back to it. The problem with this thing is that generally, for the way it tastes, I always thought that this one is priced a little bit higher. You generally see this for $45, $46. The only reason I got it is because I found this in Bottle King in Ramsey, New Jersey, and it was $36. So for $36, that's almost $10 below what I see anywhere else. I said, I'm going to come back to this one. Let's crack this open. And by the way, this one has, at least I remember, one of the best cork pops of any bottle. Here we go. Let's see if that cork pops as good as I remember. Nice, it is. Well, the cork pop is as good as I remember. And this thing says on this label, the 2025 most admired whiskey in the world. Funny enough, it said it for the year before, too. Now, these are batches, and they're batch numbers. I don't know, my glasses, I can't read it, but it starts with a 26, so I'm assuming that means it was this year, and then there's like a code after it, so that's the number of the batch. I saw one from 2025, I didn't know which was, it was two different ones. I just took the one that was this year. Being these are batch products, obviously the consistency should be the same, we assume. So, color wise, it is medium. There's nothing that stands out as light or especially dark. Let's give it a nose. I am getting some sweetness on the nose. Again, this is a 91.4 proof, just not very high proof. All right, let's give it a taste. Cheers. That is as I remember it. Very corn forward, very sweet corn. Is a sweet mouthfeel. It's good. It really is good. I know exactly why I always said that I think it drinks young. It definitely probably isn't aged all that long. I don't know. There's no age statement. I would have to think. I really can't imagine that this thing was aged more than 4 years. But it is very corn forward, sweet corn. You got your caramel vanilla, but that corn is just bursting out. I have to be honest with you, Breaking Bourbon, they haven't done a review on this, I think, since 2015. This is their flagship expression, their most basic one, and they did not rate it very well. I think it got like, I don't even know if it even got 2 stars, but 2 barrels rather, if that. But this is something I guess I have. It doesn't happen in a lot of barrels. I can have conflicting feelings that can coexist together at the same time. I like to taste this, but I think it tastes young. Yet I still come back to it. Probably would have come back to it more often if it not been for the fact that this thing I think is a little high in price for what it is. But at $36 in Bottle King, that is clearly $10 less than usual. So I know Michter's makes a whole lot of great stuff. Unfortunately, in New Jersey, that stuff either is not available or it is ridiculously priced, and I'm just not going to be that person paying that. And I would love to, see a 10-year or 20-year that was something a little bit more reasonable and available. But they also have the American whiskey, which I've not tried, and they have the sour mash. I have to try those too. But this was the original. It was just a bottle that I always thought was just something that I liked, wanted to come back to, but yet had those conflicting feelings. But $36, as I said, I think this was a good buy. If you can get it close to that, and you're curious, don't expect anything great. You might feel otherwise, but if you can get it at a low price, it would be worth the shot. Cheers.